Good day, everyone. Welcome to The Real Truth. I'm Tommy Spina. Today's guest is, may I call you Doctor? Dr. Sam Blakemore?
Really, I feel like there's only one doctor in the family. That's Chandra Blakemore.
Oh.
She's a physician in the family. I always tell people, if we got on an airplane and somebody fell out, I'm going to look at my wife. But yes, the pharmacy community would be upset.
Well, Dr. Blakemore, welcome to our show.
I appreciate it.
What I've tried to do this season is educate the public on as many aspects as I can of what's about to unfold in our state as it relates to the finally dispensing of medical cannabis for those that qualify for it.
Yes.
And I've had a dispensary person. I had of course, the commission head on originally. I'm going to have a processor and a transporter and a cultivator and anybody else I can get that's involved in the chain. But you are a licensed pharmacist.
I've been a pharmacist for 14 years.
And as it relates to the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission, what do they call you? Same thing? You're the pharmacist?
Pharmacist, vice chairman. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Blakemore, how does that fit in to what's going on? What do you do as the pharmacist?
You know, so the members are farmers, lawyers. We have a biochemist. My friend Judge Price is on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's my friend too.
Yeah.
Are you talking about
so this is
junior or senior?
Senior.
Okay. Junior's around here.
We got a pediatrician. We got people from all walks of life, I feel like, to kind of give a broad view of the implications of medical cannabis on the community. So the way I fit in as a pharmacist is mainly looking at the healthcare aspect of dispensing what could be a dangerous drug. As a pharmacist, I always look at drugs as what is the danger? And so I'm really there to advocate for patient safety, advocate to make sure that this doesn't get in the wrong hands, make sure we keep this out of the hands of children, childbearing women. So my role, in short, is just to help with public safety and to make sure that this gets dispensed correctly.
And in accomplishing those goals that are underneath what you just described as your role, are we getting into packaging, for example? Are you involved in that process?
Yes. So, like, way back when we started, I got put on pretty much every committee, finance, processors, dispensary. But that's what I see every day as a pharmacist. So I run an independent pharmacy that just happens to be at Children's Alabama. And so I helped start that pharmacy.
At the hospital?
It's outpatient. It's called PedsRx Pharmacy Solutions. We've been in business for 13 years. And so from that aspect, I've always felt like pharmacy was at the crux between business and healthcare. I see it in real time. Because when I process a claim for you, your child, your mom, your dad, whomever in your family, I can immediately see what that copay is going to be. I know how much the drug costs. I deal with the supply chain of drug distribution. So from that standpoint, I like to call myself a a business pharmacist.
Well, it's like the law business. I mean, I have to practice law, but I also have to run a business.
Correct. So at the bottom line, yes, I take care of people, but I do have a staff of 6 full-time employees, and
Like pharmacy techs?
I have pharmacy techs. I have 2 pharmacists, 3 pharmacy techs, and a host of PRN folks that work for me.
Well, I in my line of work, unfortunately, sometimes back in the day, not so much anymore because it's changed dramatically, but I trust that you're under the thumb of the Board of Pharmacy.
Correct.
And it has been, of course, undergoing an evolution. I'm choosing kind words to describe
Yes.
what has happened at the Board of Pharmacy.
Yeah.
And I don't work there anymore because the Attorney General's office is, that's not the reason I don't work there. It's just, as a criminal defense lawyer, sometimes pharmacists who are humans, I call it the foxes in the hen house, and sometimes addiction issues take over and they do things they're not supposed to do.
We have a high rate of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get into the game, you realize I'm no better than anybody, right?
You're a human with human frailties.
Correct. And so to be open and honest about that probably would be surprising to people in the community, but I had a buddy of mine, one of the smartest guys ever, get walked out in handcuffs out of Walgreens.
Yeah.
I know the stories. And so diversion is always a possibility in pharmacy. Yeah.
When he speaks of diversion, he's talking about accountability of every pill, every whatever those little jars are called that liquids come in.
Yeah.
Does that have a word? What's that word?
Suspensions.
When you withdraw for injectables.
Yeah. Syringes.
Syringe, but the bottle itself.
I call it an oval.
Yeah. Anytime it is used, and if some of it is left over, there's an accountability. There's a machine that keeps up with everything. Do we have that going on with cannabis?
Yes. So that's going to be ran by Metric. They're the seed to sell folks.
And explain that to us. Who is Metrics?
So Metric is a national company. They're probably a multi-billion-dollar entity.
Well, they need to be to get into this business.
Yes.
What I've learned is it's not an inexpensive venture to jump in. I think everybody thought in the beginning, woohoo, let's open a dispensary.
No.
That's not what this is about.
No.
This is more medically...
focused.
Yes, patient-focused and medical needs focused. Yeah. Although they're, as we talked about human frailties, there are going to be abuses.
Always.
And they're going to be, I'm sure, written into it, what you do, safeguards that catch those things. Am I wrong there?
No, when I was talking to a lobbyist, when I first got into this, I didn't realize what I got myself into.
I bet.
As one of the lobbyists told me, he's like, it's okay. I think you might be coming at this angle a little naive. I didn't realize how many lawyers and how many people were watching. And, you really, from going from a small business to realizing, hey, the decisions you make account for the population of the state. And, it was a lot. It was a lot initially.
What decisions do you make that impact these patients?
So ultimately, when we first started, the application process was very stressful, mainly because I wanted to select people that I firmly believed were in this for the right reason, to create a product that was unadulterated, quality, something that they could sell at a reasonable price, and did it in a way where they cared about people, truly. And maybe that's where the naivete popped in, because that's how I run my pharmacy. So people, they present what they present on the surface, but you have to really get into the, so to speak, weeds of things.
Good analogy.
Yes.
Are you working with the cultivator or the processor?
The cultivators were people that we chose. So, we chose the entire supply chain.
You're talking about when you were on the commission.
Yeah, as a commissioner.
With Chuck Price, who was also on the commission.
But
now,
Judge Price.
Now you're the pharmacist for the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission.
Yes, so I got appointed in 2021, and so it's been nearly 5 years of being at it. So coming into it, I had been a pharmacist 9 years, running my own independent pharmacy over at Children's. And so having to go from looking at things in a small business sense to looking at things as a government, and to making sure the guardrails were in place.
A lot of rules.
Yes.
A lot of rules and regulations.
Because at the end of the day, when I was preparing for this interview and getting ready to kind of reflect on everything that's happened, I looked at so many pages and chapters and this and that, and I said, at the end of the day, it's one drug. At the end of the day, it's just one drug. For me, looking at pharmacy regulations, if you look at the Pharmacy Practice Act that I deal with on a regular basis, plus maybe the federal guidelines, the pharmacy practice, I think we probably got as many rules on this one drug than we do in that domain.
For other Schedule 3 narcotics.
For 3 through 5. Yeah. So, and it's Schedule 2 through 5. So,
well, you would agree with me that cannabis being characterized as Schedule 1 is a little outdated, I hope. Apparently others feel the same way, but nobody's acted on it.
Well, to say it's Schedule 1 for the audience is to say that it has no medical benefit.
Right.
And clearly we know that it has a medical benefit.
All right. Back to my question. To whom do you look to as the pharmacist? Are you looking to the processor, and what are you looking at? Are you testing it? Are you seeing if it's got the right amount of cannabinoids versus terpenes and all those things that a processor might do to tweak it so we can quantify the THC level of it?
So initially when I looked at it, I thought some of the onus was going to be on the dispensary, right? Turns out the processor is where a lot of the quote-unquote pharmacy activity is taking place.
Well, he was going to be on our show next week and probably still will be, but we were not able to schedule an interview with him today like we had planned. And he is bringing a doctor with him, so I suppose a processor needs a doctor on board to help with the chemical analysis of things.
So so turns out what you really, really need, what we call those people in my world are pharmacologists, people that, so in pharmacy school, we call it pharmacy practice and pharmacy science.
I use them in my criminal defense work.
Okay, there you go.
If I'm trying to analyze blood that resulted in a death as a consequence of an automobile accident, I go to a pharmacologist.
Correct.
Or somebody that has a forensic background.
Yes, PhDs.
Yeah.
See, the farm bees like me, we practice pharmacy. I'm a business. At the end of the day, yes, clinically, I understand clinically how to take care of folks. I understand how to do the workflow and operations of a pharmacy practice and help make decisions with the team of nurses and physicians. But what they do at that pharmaceutical science standpoint is look at stability. They look at shelf life. They look at impurities.
This is at the processor level.
Correct. Like really, that's where you need it to happen. Because by the time we get to the dispensary level, for us, that thing should already be packaged and labeled.
But you're in between those two extremes.
Correct.
And what is it that you do to see? Are you looking to see how that patient's prescription for cannabis interacts maybe with other medications that they may be prescribed?
So right now I'm kind of like in the fine details of it, right? So to me, the dispensaries would almost be more of an operations management equation, whereas the processors, what are we going to do? Are we going to do equal part CBD to THC? Are we going to do high THC concentration? Are we going to do heavy CBD concentration? Are the labels correct? How are we going to package it correctly? So from that standpoint, that's still, to me, pharmacy practice. But that has to all happen with the processor before it even gets to the dispensary. And so that's where I'm at. I'm kind of like, what do you call it? Jack of all trades, master.
Yeah, master of none. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, to me, I'm an organization, operations person. I just kind of use a little bit of my information that I've obtained over all the years to see where we can apply it the most. The office right now, is mainly made up of lawyers, right? So when I make the phone calls and I'm reviewing the materials, I'm always trying to, okay, how does this look for the business side? How does this look for the clinical side? Because I have an MBA.
But who's giving you the input? The processor?
I've been working with the processor here recently on their label, and going back and trying to go back and look at all the pharmacy calculations for their label to make sure it's correct.
And let's pretend like it's not cannabis. It's some other hydrocodone. Let's use that for example. The same rules apply to what's on the label of a bottle of hydrocodone as it would to what's on, whether it's a gelatin or a tincture or whatever we have it available.
So that's where we're going to have to be, because President Trump, when he did that executive order, taking it from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, we really need to be forward thinking and thinking about, okay, how do we move from intrastate commerce to interstate commerce? Because I really feel like the direction ultimately where this is going to lead to is big pharma. Big pharma is going to get into the game. I've already seen that with Epidiolex, which is a CBD dominant product. There's already a product called Sativex, which is an oral mucosal spray that's 1-to-1 CBD to THC. So there's going to be... That's
available by script as we speak?
Sativex is investigational trials in the U.S. right now, but it's already approved in 20 to 30 countries.
So big pharma, and I suppose on a recreational side, although this wouldn't happen here because we're not allowing flower, my guess is whoever owns Liggett Myers, isn't that a tobacco company? I think they're going to get into it as well.
I think, yes. I think you see this going in so many directions. You know,
I mean, we're 40 plus states.
You're seeing this in drinks.
Oh yeah.
You're seeing this in big pharma. You're going to be able to use the hemp in other ventures like fibrous hemp. There's so many different directions to take. You're going to see this in food. I've already seen people doing things with food, and particularly in the states that have rec. So Pandora's out.
But we're not going to have edibles here, at least not in the beginning.
Not in the beginning.
Except for the gelatin, which is a gummy, essentially.
Well, you see in it's one of those statements where, I don't want to offend anybody or do hurt feelings. Medical states have a history of becoming recreational states. I have young children. So personally, that's not the route I would like to take, because in other states, when you go to some of those recreational states, it's out of control. But some of the states that we researched initially, and I talked to so many states, Minnesota, Nevada, Hawaii, Mississippi. I brought in so many people. Traditionally,
Mississippi's medical.
Yes. Traditionally, once people get the medical, there's going to be the politics of the recreational. But from my standpoint,
that's a stretch for Alabama.
Very much a stretch. And you would know the history way more.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there are people serving long-term sentences still to this day for marijuana convictions. And it's hard to even imagine at this point.
Very much so. But like we started the conversation now, guardrails. Like, currently, in its current iteration, my guardrails are to ensure that we're on a path to being known as doing it right.
From a practical standpoint, does the dispensary operator place his order with your entity, your company? Who do they order from? The pharmacist?
So the dispensary is going to have to. It's the same thing. Okay, so in my world, pharmacist, I deal with a company called McKesson. They're a multi-billion-dollar company.
I'm familiar with them. They handle the supply for everything you get, practically.
Yes. I see the processors essentially as manufacturers / wholesalers.
Well, does McKesson get in this loop somehow?
No,
they can't.
I'm just using them as
okay. You're comparing the processors to a McKesson.
Yeah, I'm comparing like the legit world, pharmacy world to this
new world we're entering.
So processors to me are manufacturers / wholesalers, and they're gonna have to get used to being that. They're gonna have to get used to having two hats.
Sort of like my distributor of the wines that I import. I don't distribute them, but I get them here. Mm-hmm. Same would be true with what you're talking about.
Correct. Yes, sir.
They create it. Somebody's testing it.
Correct.
Are you testing it? Does the pharmacy test it for its balance of THC versus CBD, or is that happening somewhere else?
Testing has to occur throughout the supply chain.
From seed.
Correct. And so that's going to be
And all of that's monitored with QR codes, and every plant is marked and got identifiers that are put on the label that goes ultimately to the dispensary, that ultimately goes to my bathroom cabinet.
Yes, sir. Exactly. But the problem with the laboratory currently is that we only have one. So they're going to be a bottleneck initially, getting out all of these different results so that we can move along the entirety of the supply chain.
Well, the dispensary operator we spoke to plans to be open by March 1st. It sounds like what you're saying is it's nice, but it's unlikely.
I think a small batch could be out by March 1st.
Okay.
I don't think you see. I think it would be like what they do in the restaurant business, soft open.
Yeah, soft opening.
Soft open. I think you have tinctures on the shelf. I think you have those gel gummies on the shelf. I think you kind of see how that works, make sure that that's going well, and then we can add more dosage forms to the shelf over time. But initially, let's get these tinctures and gummies correct.
Are they easier to deal with from your perspective than other mediums of consumption?
I believe there's going to be a phase that the cultivators and the processors have to figure out how much raw flower they need to appropriately convert into patches and meter dose inhalers and these other lozenges and other things that they want to do dosage form wise. I think the easiest path to having that soft open is to probably have 2 to 3 dosage forms on the shelf initially, so that we can tell physicians, this is what we have. We have 10 good products for you to choose from right now for your patients. As time goes on, we'll have more. That's the most logical thing from my standpoint. Obviously, I am not running their businesses. Maybe they
but you're kind of supervising their business.
Correct. Maybe they surprise us. I would love to see a ointment or a transdermal patch, but my pharmacy knowledge tells me you got to get that to a good cost per unit to even sell it to a patient.
No, you're talking about the business side.
Yes. If
just the tax alone is going to jack the price.
If that cost per unit is too high, you're going to get patients with medical cards that just go back to the black market.
Well, how does insurance plug into this?
That's a great question.
I literally just thought of it.
Yeah.
I've not asked anybody that question, but of all people.
It's going to be interesting to see how it happens when
Plan D available.
Yeah. When it goes from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, it's going to be interesting to see how they get into the game. Because now the feds have said, technically, it's of medical value.
But that hasn't been officially blessed yet, has it?
I think the DEA is going to be around the corner in the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Personally, I know
you can't predict the future. I'm asked to do that daily.
Yeah. Personally, what I would like to see is maybe there's some smart folks that can create their own kind of plans for these folks, like a private market.
Like a different insurance.
Yes.
That parallels or a rider, for example.
Yeah, it's not maybe it's not a traditional Blue Cross or Alpha or some of these big players, but maybe it's a small mom and pop that offers maybe a reasonable policy that sort of in my mind what you would call a good RX discount
with
program.
A copay.
Correct. And maybe the dispensaries get so much money back and that kind of flattens the price out for patients. It's possible.
Has Medicare got a role in this? Because some of your people are going to be my age. We don't know how that's going to fly.
I'm having a problem getting them to cover regular drugs.
Yeah. Well,
I'm having problems getting them to carry rate. They change so much year in and year out. You don't know what they're going to cover. I'm happy when they cover diabetes medications for people. So
Well, they won't cover it if it's not for diabetes.
Yeah. So
You better have diabetes.
yeah. And they gonna want the ICD-10 code and all the paperwork that follows it. But right now, this solely looks like a cash business to me. Mm-hmm. Now maybe something changes because it becomes a Schedule III, and maybe we get banking involved. But I think this is going to be years in the making for all that to get involved. Yeah.
So you see it as a cash business. When Vince Shalacy was on, he talked about, and we talked about the cash aspect of trying to acquire product. And he said they were working on some sort of card that almost like where you acquire points. Those are my words, not his. That you kind of like you load up a single-use credit card at the Walgreens.
Gotcha.
That would be usable in the dispensary, but it would still be a non-cash transaction. But the cash would be used to acquire the mechanism to present to the person at the checkout line to get out the door with the product, but no cash is moved. Just it's been a debit to this particular card he had set up.
Traditionally, from all the states that I've talked to, particularly Nevada.
Yeah, but they're both recreational and medical.
But if you look at...
They don't have any rules about anything out there.
Yeah.
You'd be gambling and there's a sign that tells you gambling is an addiction and dial 1-800. Do you want to double down on that at the same time?
Yeah. As soon as you get off the airplane in Nevada, you can gamble right there in the airport.
I'm surprised there's not a dispensary in the airport.
But from in my conversations with them and some other states, what you see typically, and I mean, Vince might be perfectly correct. I don't know about what
it's more of a retail question than a technical pharmaceutical question.
Yeah. So what they do typically is there are typically ATMs located in these dispensaries.
Inside the dispensary.
Yes. And so you can make a transaction on that ATM.
Which puts it on your card, which converts it to cash, which gets transferred to the dispensary's cashier. Well, I think some people have fear about, the fear that was presented to me this morning was standing in line. And I don't see it as like this showing up for lunch at the Irondale Cafe at 12 o'clock on Sunday. I don't see that being the operational model for this business.
I think what you could do, there's the software that they utilize in the cannabis space is pretty phenomenal. And so typically what patients are able to do is they're able to look at an online storefront. They're able to figure out what's in stock, what they want to purchase based off the recommendation that they've received from the physician before they even get there, right? Probably what you're going to have to see the dispensary employees do is once the patients have made some of these decisions online,
and placed an order.
To then go and purchase in person. What you're going to have to do is, hey, this is out of stock. We'll see you tomorrow. So that's going to be on the dispensary staff to make sure that you don't have a line wrapped around, or to make sure that you don't have patients going from South Alabama to North Alabama to get a transdermal patch because that's the only place to have it. And so the biggest issue right now that I see for patients is access, because we have, I think, is it 67 counties?
Not all have approved.
Not all have approved, but you're going to get maybe a few people from each county, or each one of these counties needing something.
Oh, just like dry counties, they're going to drive across.
They're going to have to drive. You don't want it to get to a point where they drive all the way to Jefferson County, maybe an hour, 2 hours away from them, all to find out that they don't have the medicine. Particularly if a patient's on hospice or
So they'd be able to place their order online and know before they left their home whether they were going to be able to pick up that which they placed an order for. However, they cannot pay for it online.
Correct. I think that would be the most optimal thing. Now, there's a group called Dutchie. I would love to have an opportunity at some point. I hadn't had an opportunity to talk to them about their pharmacy or their dispensary software. But Dutchie seems pretty...
How you spell that?
Dutchie. They seem pretty in the know to make sure that these transactions are as smooth as possible for these patients.
And it's used in other states, I trust. Well, it's like legislation. Usually nobody comes up with an original thought. They do some copycat.
I think
they may tweak it a little bit, but some legislation that's written here, totally unrelated to what we're talking about, is really mimicking some other state's legislation and adapted for whatever Alabama feels like it needs to adapt.
Yes, sir. But Dutchie, I feel like they're probably multinational, big business, $1 billion.
But I'm still trying to understand the dispensary they acquire from the pharmacy, right?
They will acquire from the processor.
Okay. So you're not in that stream of commerce. It would go processor to dispensary. So your oversight is of the processor.
So my oversight is really of it all, but...
Well, it begins with the cultivator.
Yeah, it begins with the cultivator, then you got the processor. At some points during that supply chain, you always have the laboratories, and then you have dispensary, and then patient.
Okay, so you're in it.
So
all the way up until it gets to the dispensary, essentially.
Yeah.
As long as the dispensary is not tinkering with it, i.e. packaging, for example.
Yeah, the dispensary is not going to be able to tinker with the packaging. It should be unit dose package, meaning sealed packaging, and all the dispenser staff is supposed to do is staple the receipt information that has like patient ID, name, etc., so that if they are stopped by law enforcement, the patient should be able to present that information as I am a medical patient along with their card.
Mm-hmm. And it matches.
It should match.
Well, in a perfect world. Well, I look forward to talking to a cultivator and a processor because, I think I have a better handle on what the role of a pharmacist is in the distribution chain. But all of your activity precedes the actual arrival of product in the hands of the storefront, it seems to me. Do you have any, like the Board of Pharmacy has investigators, right? That investigate things that come before them that's how they get before them. Mm-hmm. Are you going to have that in your world in this instance?
We're going to have compliance folks.
Compliance, that's the word I was drawing a blank on. Mm-hmm. And your compliance folks, are they looking at both the retail dispensary and the cultivator?
They're looking at everybody, yes, sir. Because the commission's going to be overseeing it all. They can enter into agreements, MOUs, with local.
For those that don't know what that means, that's a memorandum of understanding.
Yes.
I've become an acronym freak in this world.
Yeah, so we can enter into agreements, but there is a one of my good buddies, Deputy Commissioner Dion Robinson, formerly with Alabama Law Enforcement. He's been a big help on the commission, and he's been working real hard on.
Aaliyah's on board.
On patient
is what I hear.
Yes. So they're going to assist us. And the big thing that we have moving forward, obviously, is dispensary training, which
yes,
we're going to start
about
working
that.
on. Yeah, we're going to start working on that. Hopefully we can have a course offered mid-March, maybe late March, to make sure we get these folks situated, trained, and we should have people dealing with the patient registry, metric with seed to sell. Hopefully we can get some universities involved in training and law enforcement. So.
Well, it sounds complex with lots of moving parts,
Yes.
but all driven with the goal of providing the patient with to fulfill the need of the patient
Yes, sir.
with alternative medicines,
Yes, sir.
in my opinion, to opioids,
Yes, sir. Definitely.
primarily.
It's a big puzzle when we putting the pieces together.
Yeah. And you were on the commission?
Yeah, I'm on
Are
the
you
commission.
still on the commission?
Yes, sir.
So you're wearing two hats, sort of?
Yeah, I've been an active member of the commission since 2001.
But you're the pharmacist.
Yeah, I'm a pharmacist, yes, sir.
I mean, that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, I practice pharmacy over at Children's Alabama. I've been practicing pharmacy for 14 years. I'm licensed in multiple states. I always tell people when I really found out about medical cannabis being an ideal associated with pharmacy was when I got licensed in Ohio. When you get licensed in Ohio, you have to go before the board. And so it's like on the 30th floor. And so I went up there. One of the first signs I saw was medical marijuana. And I looked at somebody from the board. I said, y'all do that here? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, wow. So I went back home. This was like 2017, 2018. I went back home. And I was like, wow. So I started researching. And then this just came up, and I was like, yeah, I'm all in. And the reason I'm all in is because I deal with pediatrics. I have probably my biggest clinic is, I call it Clinic 8, pediatric oncology. I've had a lot of patients suffering from cancer, sickle cell anemia, pediatric hematology oncology. And so really I just hope to offer a good, clean product for these folks. So the kids is why I got into it, mainly because I've had parents, they want alternatives. And one of the things that came up initially was, I don't know if you heard of Charlotte's Web.
I know the movie.
Okay, so I believe that's a company based out in California that was offering high CBD to THC products for patients with seizures. And so I got a lot of patients probably in 2014, 2015 that kept asking me about Charlotte's Web, which was an online website at the time where you could purchase CBD, THC. And then Carly's Law came out, of course. And so these patients are asking you for the advice. And when I was in pharmacy school, we didn't learn about cannabis.
No.
Or the endocannabinoid system. So a lot of it was taboo, but you knew families were using it. You knew families had a desire to have it. You're having patients that were having hundreds of seizures a day. When Epidiolex first came out, it was about $2,000 for a 100 ml bottle. So, and it wasn't always covered by people's insurance. And so they're looking for alternatives. to help their child that's having hundreds of seizures. And then some of these families come back and say, hey, we're down to 30 seizures. Well, that's a big difference in quality of life.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I foresee us revisiting down the road
Yes, sir.
after we get up and running and sort of trial and error. I think we're on a trial and error basis to some degree. There is no perfection.
No.
And
No,
we're going to have some stumbling blocks. But I do appreciate you taking the time to
yes, sir.
To talk to us about the role of the pharmacy component of what our state has put in place. And
Yes, sir.
we're hopeful that things go smoothly. But thanks for being with us. This is
Yes, sir.
The Real Truth.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today on The Real Truth. My name is Tommy Spina. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I hope you will follow or subscribe to my podcast and listen in to the next episode. If you found it valuable, please take a moment to rate it and review it. It helps us to reach more listeners that care about the issues that matter. Share it with a friend. Stay engaged and remember, the truth matters. I'll see you next time.